What's up, everyone? Age of Legend back here with another review, and this time I'm going to be taking a look at The Fifth Element, which was requested by a very good friend of mine who has been bothering me for weeks to watch this damn thing, so I finally watched it. Dan, fuck it, you were right. This movie was great. Alright, The Fifth Element is by far one of the most zany, wacky, ridiculous movies I've ever seen, and it's great. This movie is pure sci-fi cheese, and it revels in it immensely. You can clearly tell that every single actor in this movie is having a ball. Bruce Willis is in this movie. He plays this cabbie, and he's great. You know, Bruce Willis is always good in everything. I mean, yeah, this cabbie guy, is the same personality as a John McClane, but, you know, it's Bruce Willis. He just brings that charm to every movie he does, and in this movie, he's great. You got Milla Jovovich in this movie from the Resident Evil movies, and, you know, she was good too. You know, she was a badass in this thing. She was fine. You have Ian Holm, who played a priest, and Ian Holm is from the first Alien movie. He was good in his role as well. You got Tiny Tim Lester, you know, from T-Bone from Friday, playing the president, and he has a couple of good funny scenes. You got Gary Oldman as the villain Zorg, and he's just over the top, ridiculous, and he's chewing up every single line he has. I love the scene how he tricks these army guys who this is this whole scene where he's showing off this gun to everyone, and Gary Oldman is just hamming it up in the scene. And as payment, they're supposed to give him these 4 stones, and when he opens the case, there is no stones. So he leaves the room. He goes outside. All the mercenaries in there are celebrating and laughing because they got the guns that Gary Oldman sold them. But little do they know is that there's a red button which can cause a massive explosion. So one of those stupid characters presses this red button, the whole building explodes. Gary Oldman is just looking into the distance. Explosions happening right behind him, and he's just smoking a cigarette. It's fucking hysterical. Gary Oldman was great. Chris Tucker's in this movie, who plays a character called Ruby Rod, and he's just hammy. He's just ridiculous. You can clearly tell that Chris Tucker is just, hamming it up with this movie, with this character. He's pulling no punches. He's weird. He's very feminine. I think if I had to give it a compare it, he's doing a very over-the-top impersonation of Prince. That's how ridiculous it is. But, I always found Chris Tucker to be very underratedly funny, and I was laughing at every scene he was in. He was hysterical. I love the chemistry he and Willis was having. He'd be like, Colby, what are you doing, Colby, my man, Colby? It was hilarious. Tucker was fine. This movie, of course, is directed by a guy called Luc Besson, and if you're familiar with his work, you might not be familiar with his name, but you've seen his movies. His most famous movie is The Professional, with the young Natalie Portman and Jean Reno. Besson directed this film, and visually looks great. I like the practical effects; they look fantastic. This movie has that late '90s CG, so we know it is what it is, and it's not. And you know what? For its time, the effects were done well. I like how they mix up the practical stuff with the CG stuff. I like the look at the aliens. They have distinct looks. They have very distinct looks. So that's cool to itself. The action set pieces in this movie, they're fun. They're over the top. They're ridiculous. Bruce Willis has a ton of great lines. My favorite line is it's near the end of the movie. And one of these villains, one of these aliens, they're holding hostages, and Willis asks the guy, "Have you ever been in a situation like this before?" And no, I haven't. We need someone to negotiate. So the guy's like, "We're sending someone in to negotiate." Willis comes in, shoots the leader square in the head, and just says, "Anyone else want to negotiate?" Then the other guy's like, "Where did he learn to negotiate like that?" So you got lines like that, which is just, to me, lines like that are so hard to hate because I just find them hilarious. They're hilarious. They're hilarious, and the delivery, it's deadpan, it's dry, and it works for me. I like it. Yeah. So all in all, Fifth Element, it's a damn fun movie. I like the directing, I like the acting, the script is fun. It's got some good gems in it. I like the whole concept. I like the whole idea of this great power being passed down from priest to priest every couple of generations. I like I like the fact that Emilia Jovovich's character is like the great power itself, like is this fifth element. And I like all that. I know it's cheesy sci-fi romp. You know, it's not supposed to make sense, and it doesn't. This movie does not even pretend to even make any lick of sense. It knows what it is. It has fun with the concept it's presenting, and it has fun with the genre that it's in. Like I said, every single act in this movie is having a good time with it. Even some some side characters in this thing that I like. There's this general that works with the president, who I thought was hilarious in a lot of his scenes. There's this one scene where Emilia Jovovich's character wakes up. He goes up to her inside this unbreakable glass chamber. He like taunts her a little bit. She punches right through the thing, and just knocks the guy out. There's this one scene where this guy and his fellow soldiers, they go into Bruce Willis's house, and like he has to like create this whole story about how Emilia Jovovich's character Lilu does not like the army because it ruined his first marriage. So he hides him in the fridge, and they all and they freeze. It's just funny shit. It's good stuff. Which is why at the end of the day, I'm going to give The Fifth Element solid 8 out of 10. It's very enjoyable, it's cheesy, it's fun, it knows what it is, and it's a good watch. So, if you haven't seen this movie, definitely check it out, because it is very, very entertaining. Anyway, my name is AG Legend. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.